Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 diesel. Hang on a minute, this is not a diesel, it's a petrol. Everybody wanted a V6, the 4 litre V6, mighty V6. What's it called again? What are those letters? GRJ120 this is, and it's a 1GR-FE, 4 litre petrol engine. So we're doing an inspection on it for Jason, and we're going to let him know and let you guys know everything that you might need to look out for. And I haven't looked at it yet, I'm just getting started. What it looks like to me is there's a lot of surface corrosion on the alloy of the engine so far, just looking at the block. Also here on the front of the master cylinder, must be a VX or a Grande. Grande, is it? It's a Grande, there you go. So that's why it's got the traction control master cylinder there. Obviously it's got a snorkel looking there, you can see that from there. Just looking at that bit of a white there, that's sort of a telltale sign of, could be a water pump leak, but it could be just related to this. See the corrosion? It's just kind of like, might just need a clean up, might be just spray. There could be a water pump leak, because just touching that with a finger, it sort of flaked off. But then, have you been down the beach with it lately? Or no beach trips? Let's have a look. We'll have a look around and we'll see if the water pump or anything else is leaking. Now, one of the many things, obviously we love all the, they're all good engines, the petrol, the diesels, they're all good, but they've all got their pitfalls. We've talked about this before. Maintenance is key to avoid the problems with all of the engines, okay? Understanding the specific issues. This one, I just want to give it a clean up, because let's just see what I mean. Look at this. They're kind of like, see, it's powdery stuff coming off, so I reckon a lot of it will clean up. A little bit of treatment. I'm just having a look around. Drive belt looks in pretty good condition. It could be the original. It looks like original quality, but it's probably never been changed. So there's also some pulleys. You can see that one in the middle of the picture there, and also a couple over this side. Hard to see at the moment, but they have bearings in them. And with the revs of the V6, 6,000 RPM up to that, which is twice as much as what the diesel's going to do on average, they're going to wear out twice as fast as the diesel. So you need to look at replace, and you can't get the bearings separately at this stage. You've got to replace the whole pulley. I recommend genuine. They're about $100 each locally. But it's something you might want to do as prevention. They're prone to, you know, obviously bog holes and mud, and it gets in there, and they seem to have a few issues. Also, the crank seal can leak as well, but we'll have a look at all that once we get it up on the hoist. Around this side, little bit, you know, at least on the 120, the oil filter is easy to access, unlike the 150. Same sort of thing on the surface of the alternator there, just that surface corrosion. Maybe it lived near a beach, would be my guess. Maybe it's lived near a beach and probably hasn't been washed. Probably could just do with a good cleanup, a bit of a treatment, a bit of a spray of some product, you know what I mean? We've talked about that before. But everything, you know, everything alloy's got that surface corrosion. Very small battery, so that's been replaced at some stage, and someone's gone for the budget option, I think, because it's a lot shorter than what they normally would be. But it's 660 CCA. Super crank, yeah, you know, let's not talk about the batteries. This isn't a battery video. Very clean car, the body and the paintwork, so far I'm impressed with it. Obviously, I haven't found anything yet specifically. Tell you what we'll do, we'll have a look in the, down the valve cover. Are we ready to eat lunch, are we? It's ready to go, mate. Oh my God, look at that mess in there. We're gonna have to come back to this. It's going to want some oil changes and check the oil pickup, I reckon, from what I've seen in there. See all that build-up of gunk and whatever. So some oil changes may have been missed. And this is where the V6s aren't bulletproof, because all it takes is missing a couple of oil changes, and it can end up in, and I'm not saying it's happening here, but it can end up in permanent engine damage and catastrophic failure. So one of the telltale signs, things you want to check with these petrol engines, is doing what I just did then. Have a look in there, and also pull out the dipstick. And as I've said, if it's, have you got a rag there by any chance, please, mate? Lucky I've got assistance here. Let's just have a quick, don't wipe it yet. No, you're too quick, mate. Settle down. I just want to have a look at the colour. All right, give that a quick wipe, please. Just a light wipe. I want to see if there's like a stain on the dipstick, because that'll give me a bit of an idea. Can you just wipe that in there, the oil off the end there as well? Because if it's got that stain on it, it's definitely bad news. And this one's not too bad. There's a very light bit of colour, but I think it's just the oil that's sitting there. Now, I'm holding the end of the dipstick. Let's see if I can get it in the hole. I've got the shakes trying to hold it still. Because normally, obviously, you hold it closer, but I'm holding it right at the end here. I did pretty well at 2 foot long dipstick, didn't I?
That's why you're not a surgeon.
Not bad, that's it. No, I'd be alright, surgeon. Anyway, we're going to go have some lunch and then we'll put it up in the hoist, have a good look underneath and come back to you with some more information. As we said, this is a Grande and somebody's replaced the front. Well, they've sort of replaced the front. We're not too sure what they've done at this stage, but we'll have a closer look at what's in there once we get down underneath the vehicle. But at the moment, you can see there is something aftermarket in there. And up on top here is this. It's meant to be bolted onto there, and obviously it won't work with this type of shocker, but you've just got to remove this and take it away. You don't just leave it sitting. Look at it, it's just sitting there banging around. Look at that, rub it on there. Can you imagine that? Driving over bumps and corrugations, just going like this the whole time. Anyway, that's one problem we see. And also on the Grandes and the vehicles with this sort of suspension, like some of the others, the strut top is flatter, or the strut hat, or whatever you want to call it, strut top, this piece that goes under here at the top of the coil over that holds the assembly together. It's a much flatter profile than the one it needs to step down, and once you change from those factory shockers and this setup to your standard this type of shocker, you need to put the right strut top, otherwise everything is about 25 mil, I think it is, further down, so about an inch further down, which means everything's coming down too fast. So you can see what's happening here, the upper control arm's binding on the spring, which isn't a big deal. We'll have a look at the angle of the CV once we get it up. You can see same thing, right? Just thought we'd come. This one's a little bit more secure, at least it's not rattling around. Maybe it's got some extra zip ties, but all you need to do for anyone that's got a Grande or something similar and they're getting rid of all the adjustable type suspension is you undo the plugs, you take off as much wires as you can, and there's approximately 3 fuses you need to remove. Can't tell you what they are, but I've probably got it in another video. If you watch the videos, check the suspension playlist, you'll probably find it in there. I think at least 2 of them are probably found in the fuse box under the engine bay, and maybe 1 under the dash, but I can't remember. It's been 2 or 3 years since I've done one, and there's about 3. It could be 2 fuses, I think it's 3. And I'm pretty sure there's 2 in one place and 1 in the other, but I'm not 100% sure. We're going to keep looking around. What's going on with that? I'm just looking around thinking out. So these, we talked about these before, these flaps, they do deteriorate. Personally, I think they're just there for good looks like this, you know, just so you can't see in there, because you're not going to flick any mud or water or anything that way, because the tyre's always turning this way. Even at full lock, the furthest it goes to is kind of like over here somewhere. So yeah, personally, I would just get rid of those and I wouldn't even worry about it because it allows better inspection cleaning access. All right, you wanted the videos on the V6, you've got it. We're going to talk V6 stuff and underneath the Prado, and this one has got a few little issues, so it's a little bit different to the usual inspection video, so stick around. Now, I'm going to sort of start at the front, work my way through, and then we'll come back up from the rear to the front again and try and cover everything. Now, at the front here, straight away you should be able to see the condenser. First part of it is, see how it's bent in, so it's probably likely hit something there, and you can see the condenser, it's had a hit there, so maybe it needs some protection here, maybe it has been down a dirt track. These little air vent thingies are a little bit pushed in, it's a telltale sign it hasn't been just on road. And you can see the radiator's got this slight leak as well. That's quite common. It's a very slow leak. It doesn't mean it's urgent and you've got to do something straight away. But if a vehicle had a warranty, that should be covered under warranty, perhaps, depending on the fine print of the warranty. You can see a little bit of mud in there. So it has been, I'd say it's been on the tracks a little bit. So that covers your radiator and your condenser information. Now moving forward, let's have a look at the, we talked about the suspension. You can see the upper control arms. So they're binding, they're going into the springs. Probably a better example if we have a look over this side, because as I said, you can see the upper arm hitting the spring. So I'm not sure if that's roadworthy. I'm not a roadworthy tester, but I don't like, look, they shouldn't be coming down that far. So the strut top, the top hats need to be changed to the correct profile to get everything to sit up a little bit further. And with too much travel like that, it can cause problems with other things. It may or may not be hitting the bump stop now, or it could be hitting too high, like I just hit my head, yeah? So there's no mark on the bump stop there. So it's not actually making it to that bump stop. So that makes contact about there. You can't see any marks there whatsoever because of the setup. Now, we'll have a quick look at the bushes. Oh, there's some aftermarket arms that have been put in, so the bushes are probably good because they look like, yeah, they have been replaced. But see the problem once you go aftermarket, remember that saying? So this one will go into the poor man pays twice. because somebody's put aftermarket on. See the boots? They're all cracked and deteriorated. Okay, so these they look pretty clean. They only look like they're a couple of years old, but you can see the deterioration. That's what you get if you buy cheap brands off eBay, you know, 150 bucks each, you get what you pay for, blah, blah, blah. So just stick with genuine, definitely. It's up to you if you want to put the whole arms in or change the bushes. We've talked about in other videos, not going to go into too much detail. Same thing, have a good look at those lower ball joints on the lower control arm. Just the boots are really deteriorated. They might have a little bit more life left in them, but roadworthy testers would normally pick out boots like that for being a little bit cracked. And you'll see the same thing here, probably not making contact with the bump stop there. Right, got the aftermarket Ultima suspension, which is the cheap one off eBay. Now we're over to the diff here. Let's look at the diff. Obviously the drain plug will need to be replaced. kaon.com.au for that. It's in other videos. Search our videos if you want to know more detail. Oh my God, that wire up there at the starter motor is not looking too healthy either. It looks like it's been shorting out on the chassis. So we're gonna have a good look at that once we get off video. I can see some burnt wires and whatever there. And I certainly wouldn't be happy with a little bit of tape that looks like is there now. I want a lot more tape. That needs to be looked at before the vehicle goes too far. Otherwise it could burn to the ground. And that's quite serious when it comes to the electrical wires. There's some aftermarket shafts or boots or, look, that's got a genuine, can you give that out of boot there? Just give it a bit of a squeeze for me. That's the genuine boot, isn't it? It's a genuine boot, but it's got, no, the boot on the drive shaft. Yeah, that's genuine, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. That's the, yeah, that's it. So, but it's been messed with because for whatever reason, we've got, this shaft's been out, right? You can see it's all butchered up. See how they bent all this? That's not how it should be. There's oil leaking out of there as well, right? So this is what we call, this shaft has been butchered. It's all fixable. It needs a new seal in the diff here. And if it was my vehicle, I just put a whole brand new drive shaft in. This vehicle's done 300,000 Ks. So, you know, the vehicle would be fine at 300,000 if only the right people worked on it. So that's what it needs for the oil leak, a seal and put a new drive shaft in it. Genuine, not aftermarket. Let's have a look at this side. This one, right out front. Definitely something's going on there. You've got zip tie holding the boot there. That won't last, but at least the oil's not leaking at this one. The boot looks good. And this boot, hard to tell without touching. I'm going to do it myself. Yeah, no, that's a genuine outer boot, so that's good. I like that. So that's giving you a rundown around the front end. We're going to come back to the front end a bit more. We'll make our way through. The transmission, it's got a little bit of that surface kind of corrosion-y sort of stuff. And someone's had some paint in here. Oh, look, here we go. We've got the oil leak. You wanted to talk V6s? We're going to talk V6s. For whatever reason, V6s seem to have oil leaks. The 1KDs don't have oil leaks. So if you're glad you brought the V6, beware that there's a number of oil leaks that are quite common on them. And if we've had a couple in videos where we said, look, they're bone dry, that's awesome. Once again, it's going to all come down to oil changes because the contaminants in the oil is what affects the seals and causes the oil leaks, okay? It's not genuine Toyota quality. It is oil changes haven't happened has caused the problem. So to fix this, that is most likely, without going to too much detail and checking here, just trying to show you in a video, that is most likely a rear main leak, which means your automatic transmission needs to come out. It's quite a few hours work and get in there and replace the rear main seal. I think we might have a video on that, a bit of a funny video. You can check that one out. It'd be a few years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago. So, well, just looking at that red wire up there again. I don't know what's happened up there, but anyway, we need to check that out. It's not rubbing, it's not touching at the moment, you can see on this angle. All right, so rear main oil leak. Looking up here at the head, see between the head and the block. So these are an all alloy block, all right? So you can get a head gasket leak more common. I'm going to try and get it to focus in there, but I don't know if it's going to work out. Let's see, try and get a bit of light. Too hard, not going to happen. Anyway, so there's been some paint on the transfer case. Give it a coat of paint, that'll hide any issues apparently. I don't think there is any issues here. It's all bone dry. Just, I don't know why they painted it because it kind of just makes it look, like I said, that surface corrosion that's on this vehicle, right? They're probably just trying to hide that a little bit. But other than that, the transfer case looks all right. The auto looks all right. Let's see. The pan, original gasket, never been off, I believe. So 300,000 Ks, clean. The good thing about the autos, they've got the auto cooler standard, and they do stay, the oil stays a bit better condition, so that's good. The transmission will be awesome, and you want that because it's a very expensive component. Looks like there's not enough lubrication over 300,000 k's of this slip joint and probably the rest of the shaft, so we'll check for play in those. We like to see a little bit of wetness obviously on that slip joint there, and you get a bit of spray from regular lubrication. It's obviously done some you know, gravel roads, dirt roads, because it's well sandblasted on the fuel tank cover, but that spot weld that normally breaks, not broken on this one. Okay, just moving our way to the back. Oh, look, we got a, oh, snake! No, just joking, it's a stick. Anybody? No, they're not here when you need them, are they? Unbelievable. Can someone get this stick out? Yeah, I'll get it out for you, don't worry, mate. Right. Let's see why it hasn't fallen out, because unbelievable. So it's done a bit of off-road. Yeah, mate, if you can get that out for me, that'd be good. I'll try and show everyone how you get a snake out from above the fuel tank. Watch out it doesn't bite you. Have a look at that, eh? Unbelievable. Anyway, we'll get the stick out and then we'll come back. So we got the stick out now. We decided to come to the back. He's just put a new tow bar on. So the owner's only had this vehicle for a couple of weeks, and it had a roadworthy at a car dealership, right? Only, what was that, a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, roadworthy. Who can tell me watching this video, is this vehicle roadworthy? No, we're not going to name the dealership or anything like that, or who did the roadworthy. Well, not yet anyway. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. The vehicle will get returned to them because there's some other issues as well. See these bump stops here, these rubber bump stops? They're gone, they're broken away, right? Because there's probably leaks in the airbags, slow leaks in the airbags or something like that, because they deteriorate once they get older, right? So lucky he's got some warranty with the vehicle, that's awesome. So what's happening is it's probably, you know, slowly leaking down. You can see same this bump stop here, see it's broken away at that side there, right? I believe that's probably a roadworthy, I'm not a roadworthy tester, but I believe that's probably a roadworthy requirement. Should we have a quick look at the brakes? Plenty of rear brakes, that's all right. Lower bushes look all right. The upper ones, I think someone's done something with these. I can't see them, but I'll just put it in the video. So yeah, I think they might have been replaced because someone's painted. What's all this paint? I don't know what's going on with that paint there. There's paint there, and up the other end as well. So maybe from a wrecker's, some arms, but I don't know. I really don't know anyway. A little bit butchered on that diff plug. So if it was my car, I'd probably get a new one for when I change the diff oils. All right, any play in the rear wheel bearings, mate? Any play in them, please? Just have a look. Nothing? No. That's where the rear wheel bearing is, guys, that rusted area there. So that's pretty standard for it to be rusted, but not normally quite that bad. No play? No. I normally recommend changing the rear wheel bearings as prevention at about 350,000 if you're travelling with the vehicle, if you're not going to be, you know, within 100 or 200 k's at home, where you can just get your tow truck and you know, get the vehicle home or drive it if it's not too bad, because if you go on a big trip, they can get bad really quickly. So we're back to here again. So I'm halfway along the vehicle. Is there anything else at the back we need to talk about other than, you know, you can see, like I said, all the sandblasting, that's all right, that's all normal. Of course, we're going to look over a bit and we can see it's got the original shockers in it too, mate. Look at that. They've been rubbing up and down there. Unbelievable. So in my opinion, probably the airbags need replacement. The cheapest, most reliable option is there's a coil spring conversion, which we do for a few people. I don't actually do it anymore. Our workshop partners, we've trained them and shared the information. That fuel filler hose, the usual, they go hard. Personally, I think that one's been replaced maybe once before. It's a bit hard, but it's not as hard as what some other ones are. But I'd say replace it again for the sake of $100 or whatever it is, just to be sure. It is petrol, you don't want it leaking everywhere. So yeah, coil spring conversion, put some shockers in. These shockers would be, these are the old original, you know, there's some cracks in the rubber there. Not that that matters, but you know, these would be absolutely flogged. Those shockers can't be working anymore. What else we got up here? Transfer case oil.
Propeller shafts.
Yeah, the propeller. Was there? Yeah, they're dry. Is there any play in them? Can you give this one a bit of a back and forward? Is there any play? Can you feel any play in it, or it feels normal? Yeah, just what's in the diff. Yeah, nothing at the joint. That's good. Because if people don't lube them, it's this front one here that does go. So rear main is one of the big ones that certainly wouldn't be. Look, there's even oil down here. Is that blowing off? I don't know if that's coming off. Anyway, the oil leaks need to be sorted. The one up at the head, it's not really a leak yet that I can see oil coming down anywhere. That, oh yeah, it's a bit messy up there. So that oil leak at the head. So this needs to be fixed properly, or just pay the money to get it fixed properly, you know what I mean? So that maybe the dealership can just pay the workshop here to do it properly, right? Rather than the old poor man pays twice, because the dealership could be doing it 2 or 3 times if it's not done properly. This is the whole thing. Things need to be done properly, correct procedures. All the brakes are good, that's the good news. Plenty of brakes at the, oh, watch out for that again. Whack me head on the hoist again. Good one, Anthony. Right, rear pads, plenty of brakes front and rear. I think that's a video, guys. I think we're pretty well covered. Anything, mate? Is there anything else that you can think of that I haven't? Obviously, did this bash plate get taken off or is it missing? No, just the bash plate missing, that's all. We'll just get back down here for a minute. Okay, so you've got the front part of the bash plate. There's nothing missing here. That's just how it is. You can get aftermarket guards that go there. I think Kaon have got one of them, kaon.com.au. But that radiator is something that will need to be attended to in the future. The bent condenser, I'd probably just straighten it out a little bit, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. But the front half of the bash plate's there, the rear half of this bash plate, it's just not there. So it's probably something you can pick up from a wrecker's. You don't certainly need a new one of those. These arms, as I said, aftermarket. There's been a lot of cheap fixes here. So the old poor man pays twice, and they're one of the biggest ones that we're not going to see until someone does an oil change next. And depending, I can't remember if these are the sumps where you can see the oil pickup or not, because sometimes you can't, sometimes you can. You need to drop the oil, you need to look in the sump hole and see if that oil pickup's blocked, because if it's blocked from that lack of oil changes, I'm not sure if you saw earlier in the video, there was a bit of gunk in the filler hole of, you know, in the engine. It's just unknown, so it's worth dropping that plug, checking the oil pickup. It's probably the most imperative thing of the engine, so I hope you stay till the end. And I hope you liked the video, all this information. Hit the like button. If you can't see the oil pickups clear, then you remove all these nuts and bolts. It's not that hard to do. What is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever there's, about a dozen. And it's just RTV silicon, you know, the stuff we use, the good stuff. And just check that oil pickup clean if necessary, and then you know your engine's getting the lubrication, because it's all unknown at the moment. I wouldn't worry about permanent engine damage. There's no point worrying about it. It's probably okay, but it could be still doing damage if it's partially blocked. And you can see here, look at all the grease leaking out from where they use zip ties. So plastic zip ties, especially small like that, don't work. So that grease leaking out there, that'd be unroadworthy again. So there's a few things there, guys. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. That's a V6 inspection. It's a 300,000 K Prado. Bada bing, we're out of here. See ya.